Hello chess fan. In today's video I'm going to show you how I intend to get my first ever title, which should be the CM title. So what I have in front of me right now is basically all my tournaments that I've played that are of the classical variant, basically being over an hour and more basically. The rapid, which is R, means that it's over an hour, or sorry, it's not rapid, it's, I don't remember what it is, regular I think. And the Q means that it's quick. So usually most people's quick ratings is significantly lower because a lot of people do not play quick chess IRL. They usually do it online. So as you can see here, I'm at the moment I'm rated 2090. And my quick rating is 1875. And to get the CM title, what I have to do is I have to get a rating of 2000 and I have to get 3 performances of over 2100. So as you can see here on this side right here, I've done this basically only once. And this doesn't mean I have a norm because I only played 4 games and I had a very good run. I beat an NM, I drew an NM, and then I beat a 2000 plus player. And I had a really good performance of 2200, and that shot me up to 2090 when I am today. But unfortunately it was only 4 rounds, so it didn't count for my norm. So in these videos what I'm going to be doing is playing a training game and basically just trying to get my rating higher and higher, trying to be a better and better player, maybe even analyzing the game after so that I could finally get the norm. So now I'm going to pause and see you guys when I get into a game. So I'm in a game now and I'm against Ren Weaver. So I'm going to start off with e4. And it's important to have a repertoire when you're trying to climb the ranks because then you know what you're going to do. Okay, so we see c5. I'm going to go for knight f3. And we'll see. Okay, I'm going to go for the open Sicilian because I think I have a pretty cool line prepared against the Najdorf. So let's see if we see a Najdorf or classical. What do we see? So here, actually against that Najdorf, I feel like there's this very interesting variation you can go into. There's variations with bishop e3, there's variation with bishop e2. But often what a Najdorf player wants to do is play e5 on the next move. And so here, we can play knight b3, just anticipating e5 to come, with then we would have the option of playing bishop g5 when it comes with the pin. So this is a very tricky line, and I highly recommend you check it out because it's basically like if they wanted to play e6, which I think might be the best move, it's debatable, maybe, I think knight c6 is also a contender for the best move. Then I would want to play g4. Okay, they go g6. So let's go bishop e3. Notice that on knight g4 I have bishop d4 options now. Okay, now let's go f3. And we're going to play a dragon where a6 is less useful than knight b3, I feel, because now d5 is always prevented. Okay, so they're immediately trying to go for the kill now. And usually it's said that you probably shouldn't castle into these sort of attacks. But here, actually, I have the knights covering a lot of squares. The queen can't get in, and their pieces are kind of undeveloped. So I feel pretty okay castling this way. Knight d5 ideas are also always prevalent. Okay, my opponent is playing pretty quickly. So now another common idea in these positions is to have some knight a5 ideas, which would attack the bishop and force it back here. But I think usually that's done with the plan to go something like this, but that the b5 pawn stops like that plan entirely. So the second plan I can think of is going bishop h6 and pushing the pawns on the king side. The problem with that might be that after b4, I'm going to have to move my knight somewhere. And if I go to a4, then queen d7, and my knight would actually be trapped. So after bishop h6, at b4, knight d5, I think there might be some tactics on d5 and h6, meaning the queen is overloaded. So like bishop h6, b5, or sorry, b4, knight d5, knight takes, bishop takes. And if I take it, then they take my bishop. And if I take here, they could take here. But then I can take the rook in the end. They take this pawn. And it works out for me. So I'm going to go for bishop h6. Okay, so let's see what our opponent does. I expect maybe a knight b7 to go to c4. In which case I'm going to play h4, h5. Another common idea to remember is that you go with the bishop here first to stop the h-pawn from coming forward. I'm not really sure why, but the engine usually hates this idea, but in human play it seems quite natural. Okay, so now I was thinking about knight d5 here, and I'm not seeing anything wrong with that here. Takes, bishop takes. Maybe you can take with the knight. Takes, knight takes here, and if takes, and bishop takes here, it's winning. So let's go knight d5. Another idea of this move is to get rid of the knight that's defending the king right now, because when a pawn comes here, the h-file opens up. The queen is going to be eyeing this pawn, so trading this queenside knight for this kingside defender is usually a good idea. Alright, so now my opponent is finally taking his time. Okay, we see a capture on d5. I don't think I have another option, because if I were to take here, then takes here actually works. Okay, so they go a5 now. My opponent is playing very quickly. which is a little bit alarming, but I think it should be fine. So now I'm considering a few moves. The number one move I'm considering right now is just h4, and on a5, something like knight d4 or something like that. That seems pretty reasonable to me. And I don't really care about the d5 pawn, because after h4, I mean, I'm sure it's just completely lost at that point. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go for h4. I'm not sure I care too much about the pawns. Okay, let's go knight d4. Queen b6 might also be a move here. Another idea to remember is that if b3 opening up the side, the side of the board, I can take this way, and after takes, I can play a3, and this side will be locked down. They'll have pressure on the c file, but with my knight covering c2, after the pawn comes to b3 controlling c2, should be fine for me. Okay, so they go for this move, winning the pawn. Now, originally here, what I planned to do was just to take, and play h5, but now I'm thinking there probably is something better here, and I think it has to do with something like bishop c4. Okay, so I'm just going to go for h5 immediately, and I think there's some bishop c4 ideas in the air. But I guess, no, they could have knight here. I could also go for something like knight f5, attacking this knight and attacking this bishop at the same time. And if they take, queen g5 is just killer. And if they move out of the way, I could take here. And that seems just killer to me. So knight f5. Knight f5 is looking really nice right now. b3 is also something to consider after knight f5. b3, maybe I just play king b1 also, though. a3 then, and I could take here. Takes here, takes here. Okay. But what if I just play h5? If they go here, I just take here. Because the problem with knight f5, b3 takes here. I don't know. I think there's queen c8 to pick up the knight at that point. Check, I move this, and then they pick up the knight. So now h5 is looking a little bit better, because here, knight f5, b3, king b1, a3. Looks very scary. Maybe it's not after takes here. Alright, well, we have 10 minutes, so we can't calculate. h5 also looks pretty winning to me. I think my opponent's playing this a little bit too fast. Because I'm threatening takes, queen h6, so I assume they have to go knight back to f6. And then the question of how I get rid of that knight is given. I could take and then go g4, or I could just go g4 right away. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Knight f5 also looks like a good option. Knight f5, let's just calculate this one last time. b3, king b1, a3, knight, bishop takes g7, takes here, king a1, and let's say captures here. Then I could even, if they capture here, I could even go for, yeah, okay, I think I'm going to go for knight f5, actually. I just saw some idea in my head. Oh, queen c8 immediately might also be possible. No, because then I have here, and I'd be covering it. Yeah, so if g takes, I have queen g5 winning. And the only move I think is b3. I don't think any other move makes a lot of sense. Knight c3 actually might make sense, but the problem is that queen b6, queen here, I think is a little bit too slow. And actually on knight here, I think I'd probably just take this. Okay, they take there. I think I can just take this. And, okay, I'm going to take this because I'm also attacking the rook. And I might just be up a piece here. My opponent might have not played this ideally. I expect rook a5, and then I think I have just queen d2, and I'm up a piece. But I am being attacked. Oh, well, I actually think queen d4 might even be stronger now that I think about it. Because after takes here, h5, Okay, might as well not give up the knight for free. F5 does trap the knight, but I think he might have better things to do than trap a knight. Okay, now I think h5 looks strong to me, and we're just trying to pry open the h-file. It's important here not to just try to hold down and consolidate your extra material, because sometimes you could get checkmated if you just try too hard to just win on material. Alright, so I don't really know what my opponent's thinking about here. At the moment, I think I'm threatening takes knight g4, with queen h6 being an unstoppable threat. I mean, other than rook h5, but then I think that just loses to takes queen g5, and I pick up the pawn. Or even queen h6 at that point. So yeah, knight g4, queen h6 is the idea, and I don't know how it stops it. f5 I think is just a blunder, because I can take. Okay, they go for b3. Now here I have to make a decision about king b1. Oh wait, actually I could just pick up the knight as well, couldn't I? So queen c3, king, where does the king go? He goes f6, I guess. Takes here, king d2. As crazy as that might look, it might actually be good. But I think he could also take here and come back at any point there. So I think maybe best is to either go king b1 or takes a3. And takes a3 is just looking a little bit more appealing. Let's just check one last time about what's wrong with king b1. Takes. I don't know, I don't like the b file being open. So let's just take and go a3. Oh, unless he wants to go a3 himself, that's also possible. But okay. So we get this famous structure. Okay, rook c5. Let's just go here. And I assume rook d2 is going to be played, which then he does actually strum up some counterplay, it seems. Okay. Let's go queen here, threatening to take the pawn. Queen a5 is expected, because I think if taking the pawn here now might be a little bit risky. I mean, I don't know why it would be risky, but opening up the b file feels a little bit wrong. Rook. I guess the rook just has to go back, because if the rook would go to f2, knight g4 would trap the rook. So yeah, I guess maybe queen b8 is better. But then rook, bishop d3, and I don't see how black has gained anything. Knight e5 might be a consideration. To go knight. I'm not sure what it does, because the bishop's guarding all of this stuff. Alright, so I think I did get some good position from the opening, actually. Because they went for a dragon setup, which is usually supposed to be good. Okay, they do go for queen a5. Okay, so I'm just gonna... I could go knight g4. I don't know what I'm worried about with queen a5. I'm worried about really nothing, to be honest. I'm worried about here and then a sack here, but that's a long ways away, I think. Because on the second I see, after knight g4, if I see rook a8, I think I'm immediately going for queen takes b3. I could go for it here. Rook c5, though. Knight g4. And then the rook, this rook is coming to b8. That's what I'm really annoyed by. Okay, I think I'm just going to take it. I don't see what he's doing on this. Knight d4, maybe. Yeah, knight d4 is actually interesting. Oh no, then I have queen b4. So yeah, knight d4 is... Oh no, takes, then he could take here. I take. And then I would take this. So yeah, he can't go knight d4. Okay, rook c5. Let's just take this one, I guess. Yeah, that looks fine. And if h takes, I assume he's just dead lost. Yeah, that looks like a more natural captures to me. Let's go knight g4. I actually, on knight g4, I think I'm expecting h5. And his guy can't really move right now because I have here. Can he? Okay, I'm just gonna... What should I do? I need to go fast too, so let's just go knight g4. Queen h3 is coming. Queen e3 is coming next. Here I just got to be careful. I'm up a full piece. Granted, the position is still open, so there's still chances. Let's threaten this and this. Oh wait, I'm not threatening this. It's guarded. So yeah, right now I'm just threatening this. He could escape actually, and that I might not need to try to do that immediately. I think maybe getting a bishop to d3 first, or something like that, could ensure I get mate. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, queen h6 here, like let's say I had a bishop here, he could still run away this way. Alright, I think I gotta be really careful here. Very, very careful here. The bishop might come to e2 instead. Yeah, I have a feeling rook b5 it won't be played because I take it. And that was pretty useless to say, but still feel like he can't really improve his position at all. I don't think there's any way, and right now I can just finish development and then sack this and just mate. Yeah, I'm having a problem with him coming to this square. With the king coming to that square. It's a good problem to have when the problem is that the king is running into the center to try to escape, but don't see any way that I can possibly stop this from happening. Oh, king h8. Okay, let's go here. No, because then he doesn't have to do that. Okay, let's go bishop e2. I don't understand what the point of king h8 is. And now I'm threatening to take here and then bring the other rook while simultaneously connecting. I didn't want to go bishop d3 because then he would have queen takes a3. And I would have takes here, but then he could have here. Which, oh yeah, then I would have bishop c4. Okay, yeah, I should have calculated a little bit further. And then I take the queen on the next move. So yeah, I should have gone bishop d3. I'm sure my opponent would have taken here. Okay, my opponent goes for that one. I'm not sure what that does. I don't think it does anything, to be honest. But I just gotta go quickly, I think. So I think I'm gonna go f4. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go f4. And then next, I think bringing the bishop here should be slightly strong. Maybe even pushing f5, that's possible as well. Because bishop here, I don't see where the knight goes. It can't go anywhere. But I guess the rook could come to b5, so I don't want to allow that. Yeah, I should be careful about that, allowing the rook to b5. Also, queen c3 never works because this is pinned. Yeah, I think after that, maybe I just go g3 and just chill because my opponent's doing nothing. I could even go... Okay. So yeah, I think my opponent just traps his rook. Don't see how he's untrapping his rook. Yeah, because if takes, I have queen c3 with the fork. And f4 makes more sense. So yeah, this queen the entire time was covering this c3 square, so I think this was just a blunder, because now after even here, I could just check and then pick this up. Yeah, now I'm just going to be really quick, and this is one thing I've always, I think, struggled with, which is time management. Okay, he goes there. Let's go rook d2, I guess. Defending the mate. The rook is on pre. The queen is on pre. Everything is on pre. It's almost like we're playing the Grand Prix. Okay, rook b3, I guess, is the best move. Takes. And then I take here, and then I'm just up. I don't even know how much. Okay, that's a pretty good move, too. I think the problem is that it doesn't really have a threat, right? So I'm just going to take this, because I don't see a threat. Is there any threat? Yeah, there's no threat with this move. The only threat was that if I take this as a fork, and even then I still think I was winning. So yeah, I'm just going to take this now. Go here, and then just get the knight, just trade the pieces off, and yeah, now it's just about winning it quickly. I think I should be able to win this position I could win this position with 10 seconds left, I think. Let's go here. Next, the idea is to go knight d5, knight f6. And we'll see if my opponent wants to resign, or do they want to continue playing? Okay, king there. Let's just go here attacking the pawn. And I want to go knight d5, I think, no matter what they do next. I'm not sure if anything changes that. I had to be wary about bishop c4, because then they could take and take my rook. Granted, I'm still winning. I might even go king b1 just to guard the infiltration squares. Okay, let's just take it. I don't know what he's doing with that move. Just go check. Go here. And yeah, I'm looking to get this sort of mate with the bishop on f7. Oh, I guess that's not mate, but I think I can just pick up all the pawns right now. Let's just take this. I'm really not sure what that was, the point of that was. And I think I can pre-move knight f6 no matter what, pretty much. I think the only move I wouldn't play it against is h6, but I seriously doubt my opponent will play that. And my opponent might attack this pawn. That's certainly possible. Now I'm just starting to take this. So let's just take this. Give the check again. Go rook d5. Go king b3. Well, shouldn't pre-move it because he might take. Well, let's go here. And we can pre-move this because all of our stuff is defended. And then pre-move this too. And, okay, do this and this. Because all of our stuff is defended. So this is a lot easier to pre-move. And I think my opponent's now realizing that I might have stalemated him there. Okay, good thing he has a square left, but let's go checkmate. Alright, so that was the end of that game. Let's just analyze that a little bit. My opponent did play on in a position I think that was unplayable, but let's look at the opening. So yeah, this opening is relatively equal, but I think that even though it is equal, it's still pretty interesting. So g6. So yeah, the main moves here are knight c6 and e6, as I said in the game. I think knight c6 might be slightly better, but e6 allows basically the Keres attack. If you don't know what the Keres attack is, it's after e6, g4, and this is no longer played because the bishop is not covering. So they usually go a6, and then if you go like bishop e2, a lot of players like to play e6, and now they're basically playing the Keres. They're playing the Scheveningen without allowing g4, which is supposed to be the most challenging line. So after here, the idea with e6 is here. And the idea with e5 is we're going to go bishop g5, and then this is really annoying. So yeah, I think the only way black can really equalize is with knight c6 or e6. And even these, it's still slightly pleasant for white, I think, though the engine says equalizing. So this, I think, was all pretty natural, queen d2. Here, so already we're out of, my opponent played the best move according to the engine, and we're out of theory, but here the position is pleasant for me. And another thing to note is about normal dragons is that also you don't want to play a6 usually, because you have dark squared weaknesses, and now knight d5 is always threatening bishop b6, knight c7 as well. Alright, so yeah, I castled, bishop h6. Okay, yeah, so I'm supposed to go h4 first, but yeah, I've said this in the game actually, that the engine hates this idea with bishop h6 first, and I never know why, but this is apparently better. Because after g4 takes, h5 takes, bishop h6. So giving up two pawns like this would have been better. And now actually I can see it, yeah, because you're threatening takes here. So yeah, that makes sense. But this I feel is a little bit more natural. So yeah, here I was actually completely winning. h4 is a mistake. I should go for takes, takes, and knight d4. And after here I'd have knight f5, I'm guessing, right? The engine likes h4 even more, to provoke h5 and then knight f5. Oh, this, and then queen g5. And what's the idea? Ah, we're taking with the rook. Okay. So yeah, my opponent went there, knight d4, knight takes d5. I think it's natural. And I went knight f5. And yeah, I was right about b3 being the only move. And it seems the engine thinks this is still good for white, but a mild inaccuracy. Maybe I can request a computer analysis. But yeah, I think maybe this is a little bit more straightforward. Takes, takes. My opponent has to go back to f6, and then takes, f takes. Ah, knight e6 would win the game. Okay, so my opponent can't play that. So what would my opponent do? They would go a3, b3, e6, takes here, and wow, they would run their queen, their king. Alright, so knight f5 was a blunder, yeah, but then my opponent took here, which just blunders a full piece. And I think my conversion was pretty good. Queen takes b3 was bad, I should go knight g4. Yeah, I thought about that in the game. I think, though, the rest of this game was pretty trivial. f4, I think, was a nice move. Here I had mate in 6 with queen a8. Wow. That is a move that I think not a lot of players would see. But I think this is a more natural move because now I'm just up a ton of material. And I had no time, but even with no time, I think these positions are pretty easy to convert. And yeah, here my opponent got mated. So yeah, I played 17 center pawn. I think I'm pretty happy with that for a 10+0 game. And that's the end of today's video about my first time in CM training. Obviously, I do play rapid games by myself, but this specific video, I'm going to show cool ideas I'm looking at in the opening and basically just show you my journey to getting CM. So I'll see you guys in the next one.